Alrighty then. Cold in here. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 1063, or 11 billion, in other words, the elevator speech. There's Stanley hanging out. The elevator speech. For in-person sales, you need to excel at those gripping one-liners. You never know if somebody walking past your table is going to get 3 seconds of your time or 30 seconds. It takes at least the 3 seconds to then help them make their decision to stay and talk or not. People would check out my new title, Defiant, and I'd say Atlas Shrugged meets 1984 in Alaska. That meant something to probably half the people. The other half, it meant nothing to. But it started the conversation. And then we went into, what is this book about? This book is about whether it's to comply or resist. What would you do? Get the conversation going. I sold every copy of that book that I had. So that was cool. Now, fact is, I had like 50 other books on display, but I had something for each, depending on what people were looking for. You're looking for military sci-fi, you're looking for this. That one-liner, the catchy one-liner, is critical to making sales because that's where you set that hook. People judge a book by its cover, but that only gets them to the next step. Generally, they're not buying the book solely based on the cover. They're buying the book based on the cover, which leads them to believe a certain thing about a story. Then they check your product page, and what's the first thing they see? That top line, which you should have bold, italic, underline. You should have it so it stands out. And then that's where you set that hook. And then you start reeling them in with the rest of the blurb. Buy now. That's what you want them to do. So online sales, they revere that great one-liner. You know your book, but do you know the one thing about that book that would hook readers the most? Maybe, maybe not. Look for it, feel it. You felt it when you wrote the book because you had this idea for the story that took you from the start to finish. That first part of the story, something in there that kept you going. It was the one thing. Well, capture that in a one-liner. Now, you can read your reviews. Readers have insight. They might tell you that, hey, this is just like this, plus this. Use it. That might be exactly what your book is about. Especially, this is third-party, disinterested people reading your book, having never seen it before, unlike you, who lived it for months. Third-party, disinterested, they will see stuff that you don't. Think about the comparison and contrast. A comparison is, like I said earlier, book 1 meets book 2. Okay? Atlas Shrugged meets 1984 in Alaska. Gotta set that Alaska hook. And then the follow-up was, is it easier to comply or to resist? Is it better? So get that conversation. One is a comparison. The other one's a contrast. Earth is destroyed. Humanity has a chance. I love that one because, hey, what does that mean? I got to read the book to find out. Yes, you do. So that's what we're trying to get the people into. That's your one-liner. So elevator speech. Have an elevator speech set up for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then a conversation. And let the conversation go. Don't hum and haw because then you're not going to make the sale. And also, I forgot to add a lot of times when I was talking to people that, oh, I'm the author. So even though it said it signs everywhere, but anyway, did you write that? Yeah, I'm the author. Oh, okay. The second day I wore a sweatshirt with Martelle. I had my name tag on there. So sometimes you have to add stuff you wouldn't otherwise, especially in person. But otherwise, keep that 3 second, 5 second, 10, 20 second snippet close at hand. Memorize it for every one of your series, at least the first in a series, and be ready to go. Because without that, it's hard to set that hook and then reel them in. You can't reel them in if you don't set the hook. Peace, fellow humans.